Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the notorious grey mullet. Now this fish, a lot of you might not know this, but they are located in many places around the world, especially around Europe in the Mediterranean and the Middle East and the Aegean Sea, even the Black Sea you can find it, and also in the North Atlantic right here in the United Kingdom. My fishing journey in this world started with mullet, so let me take you back in time to around the early 2000s, where I got my first big mullet. And since then I've been hunting these fish throughout the years endlessly. And until this day I still love getting mullet. It's one of my favourite fish to spear. Now a lot of people are going to be like, Taj, you're nuts. What are you on about? It's just a mullet. Well, yes, but mullet has a special place in my heart and soul. It sits really deep in there because that's how I learned spearfishing, by spearing these fish alongside the white sea bream. Like, these fish are everywhere in the Mediterranean. And if I go way back before even spearfishing, which I started at 18, so it's been 14, 15 years since then, I started spearfishing with this. Now, if there's someone Greek watching, you will exactly know what I'm talking about. It's a hand cast reel. And this is how I got my first big mullet as a kid. I used a hand cast reel, and it had like 10 hooks on it that you would put on a piece of bread and throw it. It would float and all the mullet would love it and just get tangled in the hooks. And that's how I got this big fish. And since then, I love this fish. Now the footage in this video is completely different. This is from one of my trips to Lebanon in the Middle East, and they've got so much mullet. But next we're going to talk about the types of mullet now. Well, grey mullet, there's many here in the UK, and I'm going to show you some videos of me spearing them, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of the video. Now the best way to find these fish, and throughout my experience with them throughout the years, is where they are feeding. When they are feeding, they are really distracted and they can't see you coming unless you do some sudden movements. Like in this footage, they love being on the sand, feeding on the bottom of the sandy areas. And that's where they give you a good opportunity normally to spear them, because they can't really see you if you're nice and still at the bottom. Or you can find them feeding between kelp. And here too, you find them near the surface on the kelp. Or you can just find them cruising by and you try and take a shot and miss. And a lot of times you find them cruising really close to the surface of the water. And in this footage, I take a shot and I land the fish. Sometimes you gotta be quick in these situations because they're just passing by and then you don't see them again. Or in this scenario, they come right to me as I am lying down on the bottom of the seabed waiting, so they get distracted and they come straight to you to check you out. Same in this footage, comes right at me and gives me a nice shot. In other places like the Mediterranean, I've not seen a big difference between the behaviour of the mullet there and the mullet in the UK. They really act similar, and that's why when I started spearfishing in the UK, I was so successful in hunting the grey mullet, because they literally act the same way. Like in this footage, they were just hovering, trying to find food above some structure. And I took a really nice shot on one of them. They didn't see me. I was sitting and laying on the bottom calmly and didn't have any sudden movements. And that's kind of a rule of thumb for a lot of fish. You just need to be as still as possible, laying there, not making any sudden movements, and the fish come to you. Or in this case, they didn't even see me. Now in this next footage, I saw a school of mullet from the surface. A lot of times you see a school from the surface, or one or two mullets on their own, and you want to dive and try and get them. Now in this scenario, this is where you can miss a lot of mullet because they get skittish straight away and you scare them away. But if you noticed, I was free falling in this footage until this very moment where they started entering and exiting the cave, and that's when they saw me and they started acting and behaving differently. But one of them thought it was within a safe distance from me, but I had a 3-band spear gun. It was a 140 rifle Marauder with 3 bands on it, and I ended up landing it. The grey mullet also loves to stay in areas like harbours, marinas, estuaries, and places like that, and you don't want to really spear them or catch them from areas like that because they tend to taste worse than the mullet that feed on in coves and sand and open waters. Now, the first type of mullet that you see here is the golden grey mullet, and it is pretty common to find that fish in the UK. I've caught a bunch of them here, and they are well known for having this golden patch on their head, the side of their head, on both cheeks. Now, the next mullet is the most common grey mullet out of all in the UK, and it grows to become the largest. It is the big, thick, fat-lipped grey mullet with them juicy, nice, thick upper lips.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Now, these are the most common in the UK, and as I said, they grow to be the biggest. You normally find them with huge bellies, like 2-3 kilo chunky ones, and in my opinion, they are the tastiest with the biggest fillets out of all. Fun fact, by the way, the thick-lipped grey mullet can live up to 25 years. It's the dinosaur of its species. And then you've got the flathead grey mullet that can live between 11 and 16, and the others live in between. Now, the next one is the thin-lipped grey mullet, and it's quite different from the thick-lipped grey mullet. Sometimes in the water you can't take or notice the difference, but putting them next to each other, you will straight away realise that there is quite a bit of a difference between them. So some of the major differences, now obviously the thick-lipped one has a larger upper lip than the thin-lipped mullet. Now the shape of the head looks a bit different too, and the thin-lipped mullet has got like a black spot on the pectoral fin just under it, and the thick-lipped mullet seems, I mean from these pictures, it seems to have a little bit of darkness, but also the colours are pretty different between both. And the thin-lipped grey mullet does not grow as big as the thick-lipped grey mullet. There is another species of grey mullet that can appear in the UK and has been seen, maybe caught by a few, but it's not a local species. It's the flathead grey mullet. Now, I've caught a lot of these around the Mediterranean, and they tend to be thinner with a wider head, and the only picture that I've got of me with one is this one, and it was quite a big one. I've never seen one bigger than that. So the 3 grey mullet species that are in the UK are the thin-lipped, thick-lipped and golden grey mullet. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. If you do like it, subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you on the next one.